everybody. Come on in, friends. We are excited to have you here with us today. I'm getting this set up on Facebook. Here we go. You know what? It did not start recording. Or did it? I didn't hear it. Oh, yes, it is recording. Okay, good. We're recording and we are ready to go. All right, everyone. Well, welcome to the webinar today. We're very excited to have you. I'm a little rusty. It's been a little while since I've run one of the webinars, so very excited to have everybody back here. You should be able to use the chat. Would love to know who's here, where you're from, what's going on. And I am very excited to bring to you today Amy Ravichandran of Abundantly Social. So we are here to talk about marketing and your approach to your book launch, which obviously marketing is something we always need all the time. And Abundantly Social has been a sponsor of the Women in Publishing Summit for several years now. She also sponsored our first live marketing event in Charlotte this year, which was a lot of fun. We got to actually meet in person and say hello and all of those types of things. And, she's been in this industry for quite a while and really does a great job. We've had several of our attendees go through their services and really enjoy and get a lot of benefit from them. So I want to thank Abundantly Social so much for being a sponsor, a gold sponsor this year of the conference. Amy has a wonderful offer for you, which I am sure she will share at the end of her presentation. And hopefully you are still, yep, she's still here. Okay. But thank you so much, Amy. And if you are ready to come back on camera, or did you have something you had to go? I don't know what happened. Her camera turned off and she's muted. So maybe something came up for a second there.
No,
Oh.
I'm so sorry. I ran to get my charger. My husband loves to do this. He also uses my office and then he'll just unplug all my stuff. And here
Oh.
I am thinking that I'm fully charged and I'm just like, "Oh crap, I'm at 7%." So, yeah.
I was like, I'm going to have to do a song and dance here as we figure out what's
No,
going to happen.
no, I'm sorry. I was at 7% and I was like, "Oh my God, I need to run and go get it." So, yeah, no, I'm back. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, everyone, we are ready to get started. Thank you all for being here. This is being recorded. We will post it to our YouTube channel and send it out in the newsletter tomorrow as well. So if you have to leave early or if you miss anything or want to watch it over and over and over again, you can do so. Thank you, Amy. It's so great to have you back. And I'm going to just quickly remind everyone there is a Q&A box. If you want to ask a question, please put it in the Q&A box. It makes it much, much easier for us to find the questions at the end of the session. We'll answer all the questions at the end. You can turn on closed captioning if you need those. And I think that covers it. So I'm going to pass the floor to you and thank you and welcome.
Oh, no, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be back and to hang out with all of you guys. You guys are so much fun. So, okay. Well, let's see. We'll just dive into it, you guys, because I know that this is a fun topic that everybody loves to talk about, right? Everybody wants to talk about PR, marketing, book launches, the whole shebang, right? We all just really love it, want more of it, right? So I know it's overwhelming. It's one of the most stressful things about being an author, I think, besides having the love-hate relationship with your editor, right? And publishing and doing all that. So we're going to talk about two ways to blend them together, marketing and PR, to help your book be successful, not just during your launch, but after your launch as well. So here's what we're going to do. Let's just dive in, right? PR, I'll give you a quick background. What PR is, it's getting outside of your current celebrity bubble, right? Everybody loves you in your bubble, your friends, your family, everybody loves you in that bubble. We want to get people that love you outside of that. So it's interviews, guest spots on TV shows, blogs, magazines, all of those things is an interview of what PR is. Marketing is the thing that everybody dreads, especially social media marketing. Remember, social media is supposed to be social and fun and engaging and not so much about selling your book. So we're going to dive into all of these things, how we can blend them together in time for your book launch and after your book launch when you're doing promotions and all those fun, good things. So here we go. Let's dive into all these fun fun conversations. So, as anything going into being an author, an authorpreneur, you have to have some kind of strategic approach, right? So, what that means is pretty much how are we going to combine your PR marketing efforts to capitalize to get the biggest bang that we can out of all of those. So, pretty much, you guys all know being an author, especially if you write in fantasy or murder mystery, psychological thriller, sometimes those are very saturated markets. So we want to make sure that we're diving into your audience and what they want to see and what separates you and your writing and your book from everyone else that has written in that. Make sure that you're connecting with that target audience, engaging that social media, making sure that you're on the shows and stuff that that audience is listening to, or readers that you might convert into loving your genre of book that you write in, and it enhances your credibility. So I feel like authors hear this a lot. Get outside there. It's going to enhance you and your credibility with your audience and new readers and the type of writing and story and things that you tell. And this is one way to enhance that credibility, right? And all that means is it's a lot. All of this is just going to have a lot of fancy words. I'm just going to tell you 100% how it is. And what that is like I said, getting you out in front of, right, new people that you don't know and letting them kind of feel like you're worth taking a shot on and reading their book, right? Because if they're new to you as an author and you're new to them as the reader, then it's one of those things where you're kind of on the fence, you're teeter-tottering. So we want to make sure that you have the credibility that they can just click that buy now button and buy your book. And they're going to join in and have a good time. PR and marketing integrating. Oh man. Okay. So this is usually where everyone has the most questions because it's the most overwhelming and dreadful way, I would say, of being an author, what most people don't like, right? PR activities. I know you guys want to write. You just want to sit down, you just want to write or type it, however you decide to write. And I love that. But you have to be social. We have to get you outside of your comfort zone, outside of your bubble and well-known celebrity status that you have in your family and your friends in your small town, right? And so that means you have to do media interactions. You have to let us do a press release and shout it from the rooftops to all the media outlets and all of those kinds of things to help get you outside of that, to get you that credibility. The online credibility is what we're trying to build for you through all of those efforts. Now, how you can use that in terms of marketing is you can post all your press releases and those kinds of things that if you choose to draft them up yourself, you 100% can, and it's fairly simple to do. It's not that hard to do. You could totally do that, circulate them out, use an EIN newswire if you want to, and get them out, but also putting them out on your social media pages, on your channels, all of those things, on top of putting them on your website and the media press section of your website, which you guys all should have. And I'm just going to play the blind eye that you all have a media section on your website, because if not, I don't want to know, but you need to have that if not. So that's one way of doing it. Also, it lets your target market followers, even if they're new, if you're new to social media, these are a new following, it lets you kind of have that. So on top of all of that, so hold on, because I'm sharing in multiple places. Alexa, can you make sure that I'm sharing my actual screen and not just like
Only
the
you're
Microsoft thing?
Yeah, you're probably gonna have to stop and reshare because if it was just sharing the slides, it's not gonna share anything else.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's sharing the slides.
Yeah, it's sharing the slides. Sorry, I thought.
Okay, perfect. Because I have it like all over and it's just like sharing. So I'm just
Yep,
like, oh my gosh. Okay. Because if not,
we're
I'm like,
just
we
seeing
got to start
slides.
over.
Yep.
Oh, you guys, this is how my 2025 is rolling. So if this is also how yours is, which is just like a hot mess of a moment, you are not alone because it happens to all of us and it happens to me quite frequently, to be completely honest. But in terms of marketing, we're just going to keep going. So in terms of marketing, you can blend all of those things into it and it gives you a lot more content. So the biggest hurdle for everyone when it comes to marketing, especially when you're online, is how the heck do I come up with new content all the time? You have a ton of content, whether it's the interviews that you're doing, blog posts on your websites, or press releases that you're doing. You can recirculate all of those things so your audience knows what you're doing, where you're doing, when, and how often, right? And that's really ultimately what we want to do. Your audience base, whether it's in your email, your social media, however you interact with your audience, they just want to feel like they're along for the journey. And this is the way to kind of do it while we're expanding your credibility and outstanding your reach, right? So one feeds the other. PR feeds marketing, and marketing is going to feed to bigger and better PR opportunities. So keep that in mind when you decide to dive into these things. You do want to have all of these things work out in the time. If you're gearing up for your book launch, you want to start doing these things at least 4 months before your book launch. To be safe, I like to say 6 months, because if you guys have ever published a book before, you know that dates sometimes don't play in your favor. So I always have a 2-month contingency plan. So I say 6 months. So then that means if your book launch gets postponed 2 months, we still are in that window to make all of this stuff happen so your book launch becomes successful. So make sure that you add 2 months into your PR marketing campaign before going into your book launch. After will be a little bit different. So when it goes into, I don't know what has happened, you guys. This is just a definition of 2025. All right. So leveraging everything, right? So that's just social media. All of this is going to tell you different ways that you can leverage it, and we'll walk through each one of those. But what I mean by leveraging your PR opportunities is using social media or your email channels to shout out everything that you're doing. Now, if you haven't written a book and you're still in the process of writing your book, you should still be gearing up and getting followers and all of those for your author page or pages that you're doing, simply because when you are in the process of writing your book, your readership, which we all know is going to start off as your friends and family, they're going to be your biggest fans for a little bit. But your readership wants to feel like they're along in that journey with you up until publication date. So whether if you get cover options, you want to make sure that you're leveraging those in all your social media channels, gearing up, staying relatively active on those so people know where you're at in your publishing journey, how your publishing journey is going, the finished product, so they can celebrate with you, all of those things. So if you haven't written a book yet and you're in the process of doing that, you can still leverage all of these opportunities to help you in that. And you can do it at the same time frame, which is 6 to 4 months out, and still get all of the visibility and buzz and everything that you're wanting. So this isn't just limited to if you have published a book. It leads up into becoming your debut novel, if you're switching genres, anything like that. This will help you in all of that. So different ways that you can leverage all of these opportunities, right? So as an author, you guys know book reviews are the most important aspect of anything that you do. The good, the bad, the ugly, we want all of them. And I know that it's one of those things, you cannot take reviews in a sense where if you get like a 3 or a 4 star, you really cannot take those personally. You need to take them in ways to help you become a better and stronger writer. And the reason that I say that is because you don't want it to discourage you from writing in general, but you also don't want book reviews that you only post the 5 stars or the 4 stars reviews. You want to post all of them. And the reason is from a media standpoint and a reader standpoint, right? Leverage all those opportunities because it shows that you didn't pay people for reviews. You didn't just have friends and family review your book. They are legitimate 100% organic reviews. So you want to make sure that you're sharing all of the reviews that you have, right? Positive feedback, negative feedback. Maybe it wasn't the genre that they thought that it was going to be, or it's not the genre that they like. That doesn't matter. You want to make sure that your audience is seen. You want to leverage all of those, that way new readers and stuff are getting a well-rounded approach into what they're getting into with you, right? Because all of you guys know, I'm sure you guys have all done this. I do this. When I go and I look at reviews on Amazon, Goodreads, Barnes and Nobles, any one of those, I go straight to the 3-star reviews. The reason for that is because those are going to be the non-friends and family reviews. Not all of them. I'm not saying that. And not every book has 3-star reviews. I understand that. I will go and look for, in a sense, the more like a critical or more feedback in it that didn't just give you a 5-star rating review, because it's going to be, to me, the most authentic that you're going to get from a new reader standpoint. It makes me, okay, well, you didn't just pay for these reviews. Now, granted, I'm biased because I understand the industry and I know how it works, but people in my family that don't necessarily understand the industry do the same thing. So you want to make sure that we're circulating all of the reviews that you're getting, Highlight those positive ones, the 5 stars, all of those, but don't shine out from the negative ones. And the way that you can spin this in your favor has been like, this feedback really helped me take a deeper look at it and it strengthened my writing, right? And so we want to keep those, always put a positive spin on those, but we want to make sure that we're doing a well-rounded approach and it's not just only the good hyping reviews. Make sure that we're being fair to all of it in a sense. From a readership point of view, they're going to be looking for those things, and media will as well. So talking about media, all of you guys, I'm just going to pretend that all of you guys love to talk in front of podcasters or TV shows. You like talking about yourself and your book. For this sake, we're all going to pretend like we like to do that. It's the most difficult thing to do, and it is the hardest thing to do, especially as an author. But it gives you the most content and it helps you leverage. So you can leverage book sales this way. You can leverage connections and other authors and create collaborations with those. So press releases and interviews are going to be the best way to do that. Press releases help you create an online footprint of things that you have done, milestones that you've achieved, awards that you've done, big podcasts or festivals that you've been a part of, while interviews get you as the author talking. So I don't know how you guys feel about it. If I'm looking to buy like a new product or a new book, I will go to social media pages and I like to hear the author talk. I don't necessarily have to see them, like especially if you write under a pen name and you want to just do a black screen, you can totally do that as well. But nobody knows your book or your genre or your story better than you do. And your readers want to hear it from you and your point of view. So it makes them excited about your book. So that's why interviews are that way, are just driving forces. We all know that video dominates the market right now. So the more video interviews and things that you can do is really going to help you in terms of credibility, engagement, but it's going to help you build that personal relationship with your audience, right? Now, I'm not saying we need to have a wide door and they need to be involved in every aspect of our life. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to selling books, people, even just products in general, people buy from other people they feel like they relate to. You feel some kind of void or they have some kind of connection to, right? And I am guilty of this in most genres. So to be completely honest with you, as an example, I am not big into fantasy. I have worked with fantasy authors. I don't read it myself. And next, I had this interview of this client that had come on of another PR firm on my podcast. He was talking to me about his book and he had done Vikings and all this other stuff. I was a converter and I bought all 3 of his books and I read it just because the way he was talking about his book. That's the power of video and interviews and those kinds of things that we're going to leverage in all of your media channels. That's why it's important to do. Now, outside of that, if you are a very shy person, which believe it or not, 5 years ago would have totally been me. I'm much more comfortable now behind the camera than probably in person. So if you ever see me in person and I clam up, it's just who I am. I'm more social online now than in person. But you can still do magazine interviews and all of those things and let your personality shine if video isn't something that you want to do. But it does help you create the content and everything like that we're looking for to help in terms of marketability for it. You can also go out there in terms of backing up to book reviews and stuff and encourage video reviews on Amazon or on your channel. If you have a Facebook group that, a lot of authors nowadays are doing first book or Facebook community groups, engage with their authors and other readers kind of in there and make it a collective kind of group, and they get one-on-one time kind of with their readers and things like that. So you could do those and do videos if you're comfortable behind it. But it's one of those things that when it comes to media, you have the chance to only stick to written if that's what you're more comfortable with, or to branch out and do video, or a combination of two. But it's going to help you in terms of credibility and get outside of your comfort zone, which is the fun part, right? We all love getting outside our comfort zone. Yes, that's, sign me up for that, right? No, I know you guys don't want to do that, and I understand. But if you want to help your book sell, you want to help your book launch, especially if you're doing a pre-order campaign and you're really wanting to drive up pre-orders, and maybe you're a first-time author and you don't have those connections, looking into different authors on different interviews and those kinds of things will help you build your network to where you can have a successful PR launch campaign or pre-order launch campaign, right? So bunch of different things that we can do, a bunch of different ways that we can leverage all of these things. So the number one question I get asked a whole lot is influencer marketing, right? TikTok influencers, YouTube, all of those things. So I will be completely honest with you. I have a love-hate relationship with influencers. And the reason is because they're great for some genres, but they are not great for all. So you really have to do your research or talk to someone like me or other people within the industry that know influencers that would be perfect for your genre. They're not, like I said, they're not perfect for all genres. TikTok isn't perfect for all genres of books either. So when you're going on social media sites and things like that and creating and figure out where your audience is, you really need to figure out and hone in the demographic, the age range, and everything of your audience to figure out what platforms they're on, right? So you have to do your research of it. And when it comes to influencer marketing, make sure that you don't want to go out there and spend $5,000 on an ad campaign with an influencer and maybe you sell only 20 books. So you really want to do your homework, start small and then build up would be my recommendation if this is something that you 100% want to do. There's different avenues and hashtags that you can use that'll give you the same traction that aren't going to cost you any money, right? Like you have Book Talk and you have Instagram influencers and all of those that aren't going to cost you nearly as much and you might get more benefit from it, or getting involved in book boxes would be another avenue instead of doing influencer marketing. So it's not that this is a bad option. It is a very popular option. You just have to weigh the cons and pros and the costs involved in it, and if your genre is going to be a good fit for that. So it's not a yes or a no. If you're determined to do it, we'll make it happen. But I wouldn't put all of your eggs in this basket. I would definitely learn how to leverage and do all those things on social media yourself or build your author network community. It's probably going to be more successful than this, depending again on your genre. So it does work for some, but not for all. Book signing and virtual events. So you guys all know Alexa has her virtual summit happening in March, which is a good way for all of you guys, right? Meet new authors, you get new resources, all of those things helps you build your community. Book signings are very similar. So I will tell you that in my long time of doing this, book signings are slowly on the decline. They're not as popular as they used to be. They're still really popular if you're a really big name or if you're really popular within your small town community. So I would leverage all of those for sure. Virtual events are still really popular. So getting involved in like Book Fest, for example, the North Dakota Book Festival is an in-person one that you can go to, which would be a good one. I always say Alexa's events, but you guys, you guys are loyal and wonderful, and I love it. But virtual events are what's going to really help you in terms of broadening your authorship, right? And your author connection and your readership. You're going to get a lot of new readers and fans by doing those virtual events, getting your name out there. Book signings will make you know within that local community. You can do a small book signing tour if you're willing to travel. But you have to kind of remember a lot of those books are going to be on like consignment and those kinds of things. And so we would have to oversaturate that local community market as publishing you as all of your genres. If you've written multiple books, why they should come and see you and do all those things. And to be honest, if you're getting 10 to 15 people there and you only know like say 3 or 4 of them, that's a really good book signing event. Because I have been to some for popular names within the industry and there's maybe 10 people there and half of them are family, right? So book signings are one of those things that are slowly on the decline, but if you can make them happen within your local community or like a small little tour of them, they can be very beneficial, but it's not what's going to really drive the market. So online sales, virtual events, expanding your network is really what's going to help drive a lot of traction to anything that you're wanting to do in terms of your books and selling them. So stepping away from virtual events, before we go into book marketing, I do want to let you guys know this. I feel like this is a market that a lot of people don't talk about, but I love going to Comic-Cons, which I know is an in-person event, yes. But fantasy, authors, murder mystery, all of that, you guys should be going to Comic-Cons, especially if you write in like YA or adult, you should be going to the Comic-Cons because one, not a lot of authors go to that, but a lot of people there read and enjoy a lot of the genres that you guys write in, especially in fantasy. So that's like an untapped, saturated market in terms of your audience, but it's untapped in fact of a lot of authors and stuff don't go. So if you're looking for in-person events and you write in those genres, I would look at local Comic-Con, small or big, and look at, doing that, because you could make a killing doing that. Because when I go to them, I'm looking for new books. So just saying, I'm embracing my inner nerd. So if any of you guys do cosplay and do Comic-Con, that's right up my alley. That's my whole thing. But book marketing, it's fabulous for that because you're in front of your target market, right? And we're marketing to them because the Comic Con's going to market. And then you're going to market that you're going to be there as a vendor or whatever, right? So get you in front of what? Your target market. And it's going to help you make sales, build relationships with your readers. And maybe there's other authors there or different things where if you're wanting to offer swag with your books, some people offer stuffed animals with the children's, keychains, all of those things. It can link you and connect you within that and then help build within local communities. So that's another way of doing it. It's a different way of implementing your book marketing strategy if you like to get in front of people. So that's just one event that you can do in terms of implementing it. So Facebook ads, Amazon ads, Google ads. I hear this question all the time. So the way that you have to view it is do not run any Facebook ad or campaign through the holidays because it's going to be so saturated that you're not going to get a return on your investment, right? Even if when it comes to Facebook ads, you may not necessarily get a return on your investment, depending on what your budget is and how long we're running it and all of those things, it will get you more visibility. It will get you more traction wherever you're sending it. If you're sending it to Amazon, if you're sending it to your website, wherever it is, it will get you more traction. If it doesn't convert into a sale, then okay, we've eliminated one issue. So it's not driving people to your website, all of that's working. It could be your description. It could be the price point of it. It could be your cover. It could be so many other different things, but at least we know that people are interested and they're going, right? So it helps eliminate some things like that. But I personally think it's a great way of just getting more visibility, getting out there, getting more follows on your page if that's what you wanted to do, more engagement in certain things, more feedback, all of those things. I don't recommend doing it for a long period. I don't think it's something that should be done, years at a time. I think it's something that when you're running a promotion or a special, yeah, we should take advantage of it, get the hype going, building it up to it on top of doing all the promo stacking, which we've talked about before, like free Booksy, K-book promotions, bargain Booksies, Gorilla Books, all of that, and let these kind of filter and drive that. I think it's great for that and will help. It is one of those that you have to run A and B targeting campaigns and those kinds of things, but it will help you if you're trying to leverage and do all those things. Now, when it comes to pre-orders and those kinds of things, if we hit the jackpot and you have everything golden, your description is golden, it's full of great SEO words and everything like that, your title's great, your cover's great, we're just hitting it out of the park, then yeah, I would totally use Facebook ads, Google ads, all of those things to drive pre-orders because it's going to hit it out of the park, right? You just need to be open to the fact that you may have to make changes on some or many of those options going into it. And I don't think it's something that you need to invest. I don't think your budget right off the bat needs to be like $1,500 to $2,000 to invest in these ads and those kinds of things. I'm a huge fan of starting slow, like small, and building up. Because at $20, $30, $40 a week or every, for 2 weeks and stuff, that makes it where we can tweak it and it's not costing you hundreds of dollars instead of spending $500-$600. We have a lot of tweaking to do, right? So I'm a huge advocate of it. I love utilizing these for specific things, like I said, promotions, pre-orders, those kinds of things, not as a long-term option. It's not something I would do. It's definitely small and niche and when you need it, when you want to hit and go over the bumps when it comes to those things. Social media, we've talked a whole lot on. Social media, you guys, I could talk for hours on. It's how I got started. I am very social in that sense. But when it comes to it, doing things like this webinar that I'm doing, right? And how it's live on Facebook, having your book trailers. If you guys don't have any book trailers, you need to get those done. They're like little movies for your books and they're fantastic. Q&A sessions, I highly recommend. If you have an author page, getting on there and doing a live Q&A session, and you need to be open to the fact that, yeah, Maybe no one's going to join that night. So have a list of questions that you're frequently asked or other authors are frequently asked that you can answer yourself. So always be prepared. But video is what everybody enjoys. We all enjoy a good video. You guys, I'm sure, watch Reels and TikToks and all of these things. Doing live interactions like that or videos like that is going to drive excitement, push towards your community, make sure your audience feel like you're engaging with them. They matter, all these things. And they do matter. Your readership matters, right? Engaging with them, letting them feel like they're a part of the journey. The best way to do that is you just hopping on, even if it's just for 5 minutes, hopping on, saying, hey, it's Friday. It's a hot mess of a day. I'm starting 2025 out like a hot mess, disorganized, all this stuff, right? And just be authentic to who you are, even if it's like you have a, what is it, like a persona, if you run under a pen name, embrace that, right? Your audience wants to see that. They're going to enjoy it, and then it'll slowly build. But social media is something that takes time. I wish I could tell you that it's like an instant thing and then we're all just going to be instantly famous, but it does take time. So it is one of those things that the more consistent you are with it, the better and more successful it's going to be. It's just going to take time, right? So it is one of those things that we want to make sure is happening consistently at the same time, same day, training your audience to know when and what they can expect from you, right? So that's the whole point of social media, and sharing your press releases, all the interviews that you're going to do in your PR campaign, all of those things are going to be very important. So we want to make sure that we're capitalizing and letting your big audience know where that can go. And I would also throw email marketing under your social media campaigns. So, in talking about that email list, you guys, I'm not even going to lie to you. I do not send out a whole lot of emails. If you guys have signed up for my email list and you totally know this 100%, I don't send a lot of them. Email isn't my strong suit in terms of for myself. Now, my authors and stuff, I have the most fun doing. Like, oh yeah, every Monday, like the first Monday of every month, we're going to send out this huge campaign and like let everybody know what's going on. I absolutely love that. And I think that you should do that. And I think the best way in terms of for me to build it was leveraging others in my community, all of those things, doing offers, collaborations, all of those had helped me build my email list. So I always recommend those things. I just way heavier on social media than I do on email, but it's different for everybody. So those are the ways that I would recommend building it. And then you can also build it with media connections. Medias will also put you on their email list and exchange it and do all of those things. And they'll, when they broadcast your interviews out to their audience and stuff, they'll tag you in it. So using those things are the best ways, I would say, to leverage your email list and to build it. So every genre is different when it comes to tailoring a marketing plan, a PR plan for it, right? So it's all going to depend on your demographics, your preferences, your behaviors. Ultimately, what age range did you write the book for, right? What demographic, what made you love that genre that you wanted to write in it? So you are your own marketing strategy. What do you want to see in order to sell, to buy a book within that genre? So we generally are going to help you refine that and get that out of your head into a plan and implement it, right? But I always tell people this, and I mean it. You are your own target market because you write what you enjoy reading, right? So what would you like to see that would make you want to buy a book in the genre that you wrote in, right? So we help you get that out of your head and put it down into a whole plan. And it sounds super easy. You're like, oh, I want to see this video. And if I'm in romance, I want to see a thirst trap with a chapter over it. Okay, but when it comes to your book, how do you implement that? Right? And so implementing is just going to be like if you wrote fantasy and you have portals that go to new worlds, right? How would you describe those? What visually would they look like? How could we have a comparison to break those down, right? So that's why demographics, in terms of age range, your preferences, do you have trigger warnings or not? Those kinds of things. And then behaviors is just going to be like, how do you want to come across to your audience, right? Is your book, some books come across super aggressive. And so do we want to have a softer approach because the book's so aggressive, or do we want to go on and be aggressive towards it? So those kind of things is what we break down to analyze, and it's what you would ultimately have to do. But like I said, the easiest way to say this whole section is you are your own target market. So what would you want to see to purchase a book in the same genre as yours, right? That's the best and easiest way that I can relate this whole page to you guys, because it can get wordy. So we've already talked a whole lot about what it's like to combine your PR and marketing efforts. And so we're just going to reiterate how all this works when it comes to your launch plan, right? So, like I said, 4 to 6 months out, you want to make sure that you will hit at least that 4 month campaign, right? The 4 months before your book comes out is what we want to make sure that we're going to hit. You want to make sure that your press releases are going out at that time, especially if you're doing a pre order campaign. Make sure that that's going out with your launch date. The cover of the book and your author photo need to be in that. That's really important. Your social media campaigns. This is when you would want to run your Facebook ads and gear up and start building just relationships with other authors, sharing, doing all those things, letting everyone feel a part of the journey. If you're going to do your cover, do a cover reveal, all of those things take place within that time period. Those 6 to 4 months is really when you want to hit it. If we're going to do influencer engagements or anything like that, we need to be consulting them at that time, because at this time, right, if you're wanting to get editorial reviews and all of those things, we can submit your book, because your book should be completely finished, where we have art copies, covers done. It's already uploaded to Amazon or wherever else you're putting it for pre-orders. So we can send off for editorial reviews. If we're doing an influencer campaign, we can print off copies of your books to send to them. So that way they have, and if we're doing swag included in that, we gives us the time to get the swag in and everything. So then the videos that they're going to create will be out in time for your book, right? So that's why the time frame of 6 to 4 months is going to be super important if we're going to do all of these things to set it up for success. I also recommend doing promotional stacking, which is what I mentioned earlier, which is like free Booksy, bargain Booksy, K-book promotions, which has a lot of different options. If you're wanting to do things like that, running promotions on your ebook, gearing up to your launch and through your launch for at least 3 days to leverage all of those to drive up traction, credibility, reviews, all of those things. So when I say reviews, it's all going to be from you've built up this whole campaign. Let's say that you're running a 99 or 199 ebook promotion on your book through your launch date. That's at a price point that people aren't going to stop to think about. Oh, I don't know this author. I don't really know if I should do it. It's like one of those, like, you can just hit the button, right? Which is what we want them to do. Is just hit the button, then they'll read the book, and then hopefully they'll leave a review, right? I'm not going to say that you're going to get 2,500 reviews because you had 2,500 downloads. I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is you might get 25 to 2,800 downloads and you may get 10 to 15 reviews, or you may get 6 to 7, right? But that's 2,800 new readers that you didn't have, and that's 6 to 7 reviews that you wouldn't have gotten, right? So positive spins on everything, because reviews are just difficult to get in general, right? So we've launched our book, we've set it up for success, we've done all of these things. Now, what the hell do you do after your book comes out, right? I'm sure you just want to start writing another book, doing all these things, but you need to continue doing your media. We need to continue searching for reviews, because I always say, like, when you enter a new relationship, a new friendship, whatever, 6 months is like the honeymoon phase, right? So it's like 6 months up to your book launch. We've launched your book. It's all fabulous, puppies and rainbows. We love it. After that is when things get hard, things get real. It's reality, right? And the reality is we still need to do media opportunities, talking about your book, running promotions on your book, seeking out reviews that maybe we only got 6 or 7 when your book came out. Okay, well, let's focus. So let's not rebrand, but let's push out and get more reviews. So let's run different avenues. Let's reach out to bigger magazines and their editorial department and see what reviewers they can lend us to take a look at your book, right? So that's when things, I always say, get to me the most fun. I love being a part of your launch and celebrating, and everything's wonderful. And I'm always here for a puppies and rainbow moment, right? But when it gets like this, and it's like, okay, like now it's boots to the ground, we're getting out there, getting our hustle on, really pushing forward this authorpreneur that you guys are, it's the most fun for me. So this is when we can look at different holidays within a month, or the theme of the month. If it's like help awareness, that would be September. Valentine's Day, of course, is romance. All of those things, we can start leveraging all of those different events and month themes to leverage for your book, to run promotions or press releases about how they tie in, and really do more on the ground marketing is the best way to keep it light in the sense of that, because it can get heavy pretty quick when you dive into those things. Social media updates, letting people know, hey, I'm going to be on this show, tune in, or hey, I'm going to be in the magazine and it's coming out in January. You know, you click here and like go and read it. I'd love to hear your feedback on it and all of those things. Doing your online events is what reader event is going to be. But on top of that, it's going to be just keeping them up to date if you're writing something, or if you're going to a different event, or you're going to be on a podcast or something. It's keeping them up to date while doing the Q&As and getting on there weekly and engaging with them, right? Because just because your book came out and you've drawn up all this hype and this engagement with them, don't let that fall off, because they're not going to like that. They're going to leave really quick. And you want to make sure that your fan base and stuff stay loyal. So you want to make sure that you're engaging with them and doing all these things, which is why it's easier to keep it going if you keep your media relationships going, interviews and those kinds of things, especially drawing up for more reviews and those kinds of things. So measuring success looks different for everybody. I'm going to tell you how we measure success at Abundantly Social, but again, it looks different for everybody. So the way that we measure it is simple in a sense of media coverage. How much media coverage did you get that month? How much engagement did your post get that month? How much did your following grow? Right? How many sales did you get? Now, you have to remember when it comes to sales that they are going to fluctuate, especially if you're running an ad campaign and then you don't run an ad campaign, they're going to dip. So sales figures are fluctuate. So the way that I always say this is, as long as you've sold between 10 and 12 books a month consistently, that's really good, because it's going to dip. Some months you may sell 100, some months you may only sell 6. So that is going to fluctuate. So we focus more on how many media opportunities did you get that month, how many social media engagement, shares, follows, questions, all of that did you get? Are people engaging with you? Are they liking it? Were you at a consistent number that month, where say that you've sold 6 books every month consistently for the past 4 months? To us, that's pretty good to be consistent, because it's going to fluctuate, it's going to change, especially with an oversaturated market, depending on your genre that you write in, if we're not running advertisement campaigns, all of those things. So that's how we measure success. Again, it looks different for everyone. That's just how we tend to do it and what we look at in terms of that. Action steps for your book launch. We talked a lot about this, which is just the 4 to 6 months, setting yourself up for success, focusing on reviews, doing your press media tours, which is, you know, your media kit. How do you pitch yourself? What does a media kit look like? What all goes into that? If you need help doing that, making sure that bloggers and media outlets and influencers are getting your press releases and all of those things incorporated into your launch, right? So that's why the 4 to 6 months, like we talked about, if we're going to do setting up an ad campaign, right? We need to set that up 4 months to 6 months out so we can gear up and have a good amount of traction by the time your book releases. And we need to organize influencer events, right? Which we talked about earlier, which is just pretty much making sure influencers are going to share and have videos by the time that your book is ready to launch to the public. So my happy slogan is, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. I wish it was a sprint where we would all just be millionaires, but it is a marathon. It takes time to train your audience, the media, and what they can expect from you, your genre, all of those things. It takes time. So it is definitely one of those things that patience is your best friend when it comes to PR and marketing, which is why most people, it's very overwhelming and they don't necessarily enjoy it. But it is one of those that the more consistent you are with it and the more patient you are with it, the more it will benefit you in the long run. So you just have to make sure that you do that. I know it's difficult. Nobody enjoys it. I know, and not as much as I do, but it is something that is really needed if you want to catapult your book, especially for book launch. And after the fact, you really want to continue and keep things going. So with all of that being said, I know I've thrown a whole lot at you guys. I tend to when I come on to these things. We can start going through questions, and then I'll send this to Alexa too, so you guys have it.
Ah, man, I love your presentations. They're always fun. Okay. And
Fun time.
I was laughing about how you were saying you love to be on social, and I made my own joke, but nobody laughed at it. I was like, you're even abundantly social.
True. That's a true statement. I am abundantly social. In person, not so much.
Oh
I
my
keep to
good grief.
myself.
So there's 27 questions, now 28 questions in there, y'all. We have 15
Wow.
minutes.
Okay.
We will power through as many of them as we can. But I do want to tell you that Amy is going to be available in a sponsor booth at the conference, so she'll be there for a whole hour to answer questions, and you can and get with her and talk to her and ask questions. She'll also have another session in the conference, and we'll get her into the Facebook group as well. So if she ever has a chance and you're in the Facebook group, you can ask questions. So lots of ways to be able to reach out to her if you can't, and of course you can go to her website. Did you drop the link to your offer? If not, I can drop it in there. And I think it's womeninpublishingsummit.com/abundantly social. I'll grab that and make sure for sure.
Okay.
Um, but we will get through as many of these as we can. So if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, please go over to womeninpublishingsummit.com. They're $100 off right now, so until the end of the month. So you want to make sure you grab that at womeninpublishingsummit.com. And all of our sponsors have really great deals and discounts for you too. Okay, here we go. Connie says, I have a plan for a launch party where I live now on the day and a bigger one, but she wants to do a smaller one, maybe coffee and cookies where she used to live. How do you make that special so people will come?
Oh, no, that's one of those you can get involved with like a local small bookstore and see if they will host like a book signing or a book launch event at their bookstore that you can bring things to. And then you're going to send out flyers locally. The bookstore will also promote it, and you can have that kind of small, intimate event. Most bookstores, independently owned bookstores, get on the train for this because it brings business into their store. So that would be the best avenue I would do, especially if you used to be a local into that community. They like to support local. And so that would be probably the best way I would say to do that.
Okay, awesome. Um, Lucy says, as for social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, which ones are the best? I don't have a whole lot of followers on Facebook. How can I grow followers? I mainly use LinkedIn. Um, I don't know what just happened to Amy. Hopefully we didn't just, oh, it looks like she just dropped out somehow. So I can answer some of these questions as a book marketing person too, and we'll grab Amy to answer some of them when she comes back in here so that we don't have to just lose it. So, up, she's back. Okay. But for Lucy, the real thing with your social media platform is that you need to go where your readers are. So if you're, and Amy mentioned this in her presentation as well, if your readers are on TikTok, that's where you need to be. If you're mostly using LinkedIn, my assumption would be that you are nonfiction business, looking for the business, or professional group. And if that's the truth, then you're in exactly the right place. Okay. Sorry, just
Yeah.
covered for you for a minute there.
Oh no, I'm so
Um,
sorry. We're getting storms here and I lost power.
I wondered, I was like, and she's gone. We're just going to keep rolling.
It's
Um,
a fun time, you guys. It's a fun day. It's a fun day.
Yeah, Sherry's got a great question. Many of us write with pen names. So how do you do all of this when, and I heard you say about the video, like it doesn't always have to show your face, but do you have advice for people who are marketing under a pen name?
Yeah, so if you're marketing under a pen name and you don't want your photo released or anything like that, then instead of having an author photo, you can have like a caricature or like a drawing of you in a similar instance. And then what we would do is when you were to do interviews and stuff, it would just be a black video image. Or we would let you have, like, or you can do those overlays and it's just that image, that author one that you use, or those kinds of things. If it's one of those where it's a pen name, but you don't mind showing your face and those kinds of things, then what we say is embrace the personality that author pen name has, right? And that's the character that you bring to the show. So that's what we would position you as. So we always use your pen name. We don't use your real name in terms of pitching for media contacts and those kinds of things. So as far as they know, that is your real name. So it helps make things easier. But that's what I would recommend to do.
I know lots of romance writers who write with pen names and they never post anything with their face on it. It's all just graphics with their books and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah. Let's see. My friends are bailing from Facebook and Instagram in response to all the stuff going on there. Blue Sky is the latest. Is there a similar alternative? I think a lot of Facebook are going to Blue Sky as well, actually, Laura. But is there a similar alternative to Meta for authors who also want to connect with a larger group of readers? What do you know on this scene?
I mean, I know that Blue Skies is really popular. That's where a lot of people are going. You also have Threads that Facebook, started at that point. Instagram is owned by Facebook, so you're probably not going to want to be there. But I mean, I would switch there and dabble in, depending on what your genre is. LinkedIn can be really good at that sense. But I would say if they're switching from that, then I would probably do Blue Skies for sure, because that is really popular, and maybe focus more on your email marketing campaign and get more in touch with readers and stuff through your email, and treat that as you would like your social. Not sending out an email every day or anything like that, but let that turn into your primary place to engage with them. So you're going to throw everything into having people sign up for your newsletter list to stay in contact and up to date with what you're doing. That would be my simple solution. Instead of trying to bounce you all over the place and spread you thin, that would just be a simple solution I would try.
Lita, I don't have time to get into that comment, but there are a lot of reasons why people use pen names, and it's generally not to hide. It's more because of sales and being able to connect with the right readers. For example, under Alexa Bigwharf, I write on grief and parenting and writing, and that's not real attractive to my rom-com people. So I created a pen name so that I can market my rom-com books without the algorithms and everything getting all confused. And also, who wants to be posting on social media one day about books for grieving mothers and the next day about about
Mhm.
romantic comedies in Paris? So
Yeah.
so lots of people do it more for the marketing reason. Back to what Amy just said, 1 million, 50 billion% on the email list. I mean, who wants to go learn all of these new places anyway? And I don't know about y'all, but
Yeah.
I don't have time to be on all of these different things and learning different places, etc. And it's really overwhelming to me actually to imagine having to grow Threads and having to grow Blue Sky and having to grow all of these. Luckily, most of my people are still on Facebook and Instagram, so I'm happy about that. Um, okay, Laura wants to know, how should she apply and select editorial reviews? How many does she need? Can she pay a writer to write one?
So an editorial review there's a bunch of different options. Your biggest hitter will be Publishers Weekly. If you self-publish, it's Book Life, which is their self-published branch of Publishers Weekly. If you submit within their time frame, which is 4 months before your book comes out, you have the opportunity for them to review your book for free and not have to pay for it. If your book's already come out and you're seeking editorial review, then yes, you're going to have to pay for it. And then it's like $4.95. And if you go over their word count, it's an additional $100 that you've gone over. So you're looking at like $500 to $600 for it. That to me is your biggest hitting one, because that's the one most people look for. Me being in media, I'm going to look to see if you have that one. When we're working with clients, we generally always say like, we're going to get a Publishers Weekly or Book Life review. That's your biggest editorial one. A lot of magazines will offer editorial reviews for a fee. But it plays into your 4 to 6 month window, which that lets us be able to submit like Midwest reviews and those kinds of things without you having to pay for them to review your book. And then that review will be out hopefully in time for your book launch. So that feeds into our 4 to 6 month campaign.
Okay. Carol says, should my website be written in first person? Right now it's in third person. And when you said it should be that, I should be talking to them. I need to change that. Thanks.
I mean, I don't know. Mine's written in third person, but then I also switch in second in certain parts where I get on there and do it. But I think if you're going to be communicating and stuff, it depends on who's updating your page and what you want them to think. If you wanted to think that someone else wrote it for you, then yeah. But I always like to just be authentic to who you are. So whichever one you're more comfortable with is what I would say.
Oh, Lisa says, do we have to pay influencers?
It depends on the influencer and their reach and what kind of campaign you want them to draw for you. So it can get expensive depending on their numbers, what if they guarantee what it does guarantee, how much content they're going to make for you. Some will do it in exchange just for the book so they can read the book. But some will charge you for it depending on what all you're wanting them to do. So
Okay. Let's see. What PR channels are you talking about? I don't really,
like
I'm assuming that was, let's see, she asked that at about 2:30, so you would have been about three-quarters of the way through.
So yeah, so like distributing your press release, you can use an EIN newswire if you want. It costs like $100 to $200. How we like to do it is we'll use one of those, but we're also going to leverage all of our media contacts, our bloggers that we work with, and our social media channels to share your press release out and then put it into different groups and those kinds of things as well. So those are the different PR channels that we would be talking about in terms of where all we share our press releases and where all it goes and everything like that.
Okay, let's see. I'm trying to go through and grab some that are a little bit different. I'm going to skip some of these because they would be very long answers and they're a little bit more than the scope of this webinar. But let's see. This is a great question, Lucy. Can you talk about pre-order? Do you do it on Amazon or other platforms or on websites?
So we've always focused pre-orders. Depend if you are up on Amazon, we're going to drive all your traction there. It is going to be your biggest hitter. So we're always going to drive traction there. If you're doing like a third-party printer and you're just doing a big print run and you want them all sent to your website, then we'll do that. But we focus on primarily on driving traction to Amazon, boosting your ranking numbers, your credibility over there, your review score, everything like that. So we're going to send them wherever you want us to, but we ultimately enjoy sending them over to Amazon. It's smooth sailing. It's a one-click thing, makes it easy.
All right, let's see here. Oh, what can they be doing in the 6 to 12 months after launch?
Oh, that's the fun time. That's when you want to be still doing campaigns for reviews, running promotions, focusing on what different themes of the month that you're going to have. Like I said, September is like self-help awareness. So if you're writing a nonfiction book that deals with any kind of self-help, that would be the months to release it or to run a promotion on it. Valentine's Day is in February. So if you write romance or any type of book that has an element of romance, I would do a promotional campaign during then. So I'd be strategizing into what each month's theme is. If you can tie your book into that, what promotion you want to offer on your ebook, draw in reviews, stay out there, and also be focusing on interviews, written, verbal, video, any type of interviews or media attention that you can get. So that would be your 6 to 12 months after your book comes out.
Awesome. Okay. What do you think is better for authors, podcast interviews or other media type interviews?
All any and all interviews are great. I'm not going to tell you to do one over the other because I think that all of them are very important. They each play a different role in it. So podcast, especially if it's like a video-based podcast, is going to get your face out in front of it and add more of like a humanistic, relatable version to it. And it gets you talking. Written podcasts, if you're really, I mean, you guys are all authors, so you guys are really smooth with words. But if you are better writing things out than written, but I'm going to tell you to do any and all.
I agree. Okay, if you're asking, okay, let's hold on. We're talking about book reviews here. Book reviews and book sales being especially encouraged in the first week you launch your book on places like Amazon. How important is it to have a bunch of reviews in that first week?
It's important. So Amazon will start promoting your book after you have between like 50 and 60 reviews on your book. So the quicker that you can get to that, the quicker Amazon will start promoting your book, but it also gives you more credibility and it will boost you up in your rating or your ranking and everything on Amazon, but it's just going to make you higher desired. So the whole point of that is one, it shows credibility, ranking, it helps with your ranking, but Amazon will start also promoting your book, which is ultimately what you want, right? You want Amazon to help you do that. So that would be ultimately the goal of having that.
Okay, I want to go pop back to one of Laura's questions. I wanted to wait a little bit on this one, but The press releases. I love this question because it totally depends on which PR expert you ask. Some people love to use them, some people hate them, some people say they're still amazing, some people say they're dead. What
Yeah.
you like press releases? Can you tell us why?
Well, I have, so I'm not in love where it's like we have to do it for every little thing that you do. I think to an extent, press releases are getting old, but I think in terms of creating an online footprint of all the achievements and success that you've had and your book has had, it's the best way to do that because you still have media outlets that look at press releases, the news channels still look at press releases, all of those things. So it still is a good way to get in front of those, but it's the way to create an online footprint instead of just only having your social media. It gives you more of like a media professional footprint, which is what we're looking for, right? When we're pitching you to those. So I would say, I mean, I don't think you need to have one for every single thing that you do. Like if your book won 15 awards, we don't need to have 15 different press releases. We're going to have a press release saying that you've won all of these awards, and we're going to highlight the biggest award that you won within that press release. And then we'll mention all the other ones too, but we're going to do a big one on the big name one that you have. That's how I would strategize it. I don't think it's something that you need to oversaturate with. I think it is pick and choose what you want to celebrate, but it is the biggest way to have a media professional footprint. It is the best way to do that.
There's a couple of great comments in the chat too on this, Laura, if you want a little more information. Okay, let's see. We're going to do the last question here. Let's see. Okay, this is a great one. Thank you, Lydia. For a new writer who is older and has a first book with very little social experience, what are 1 to 2 things that she can do to start?
Yeah. So the biggest thing is getting out there and starting your author page, knowing what channels you want to be on, where your audience is where you want to be, right? So I would research your demographic, your age range, and what platforms there are. Get familiar with those platforms, create your author page, and slowly build to where you're more consistent and you're more comfortable with it. So at the beginning, it's going to be overwhelming and it's going to be very uncomfortable. And so don't try to post every day. Try to post once or twice a week. And then when you get more comfortable and you get more familiar with it, you have more people engaging because you've trained them when they can expect to see you. You're inviting more people to it, through the podcast that you're doing or just reaching out, making other author friends and author connections, right? Then you can start posting more because you're more comfortable, more confident. So this is where it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So to start off, that's what I would do. Get familiar with it, let the overwhelm come down, and then you can slowly start building. But you need to be confident and comfortable doing it before you can do that.
Okay, thank you so much. These were great questions and great answers, a great presentation. We will be reposting the this webinar. It's also available on the Women in Publishing Summit Facebook page. You can go watch it now. It's been streaming live. We'll also post it. We have a brand new YouTube channel for the Women in Publishing Summit, so I just posted that link in there if y'all want to subscribe to us there. We'll post it on both accounts for now because we have a very small following on the Women in Publishing Summit page, but it will be at the one that we just dropped for everybody there. Please do get your ticket to the Women in Publishing Summit. You can grab that at womeninpublishingsummit.com. You'll be able to speak more with Amy, get access to a ton of training, ton of great stuff. And I can answer any questions about that via email if you are interested in that. And Amy, please let everybody know where you want them to go to follow you, to get more information. We have your sponsor page up, but if there's anything else you want to have people do, please let us know.
No, you guys, I'm an open book. So you can go to Amy Ravichandran on any social media channel, Abundantly Social. If you have any questions, if I didn't get to answer your question here in the chat and you really want an answer, if you'll send me an email at Amy, AIMEE, at abundantlysocial.com. I'm an open book, you guys. I'm more than happy to answer your email and those kinds of things. But no, I'm excited. I'm sorry that the power ran out. We are Texas is not built for like snow
No.
storms, you guys. We're not built for that. We run and hide. So, and then, it's been just really fun. It's always fun to get together with you guys and Alexa, and I'm excited to see you guys in March. So thank everybody so much. Alexa, thank you so much.
I'm so grateful to you. Thank you. This is always great to collaborate with you. All right, everybody. We will see you all soon and have a great day. Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.